Hello freaks and welcome to yet another amazing Rag Reynolds tier list. Today we are going to be ranking felonies. Felonies, if you don't know, are serious crimes. Now, we have a list of felonies here. I'm going to rank them on this tier list, and if you disagree, you're wrong, you're a loser, and you should go away. Number 1, we have tax evasion, and this is an S tier felony. By S tier, what I mean is I approve of it, I think it's cool, and everyone should do it. When we get down to F tier, that means I think that anyone who does that should probably be castrated and thrown into the moon to just disappear and never be seen again. But tax evasion, we're putting an S tier. Tax evasion is very cool, and everyone should do it. I don't like taxes. You shouldn't like taxes. No one should like taxes. It is just regulated theft. And obviously, one that'll go down in F tier is, that. We're not even going to say that out loud because YouTube won't like that. But those people, worst of the worst. Other than maybe liars. Next up, we have treason. Now, treason isn't as good as tax evasion, but I still do recommend it. I don't think there's anything good about being loyal to your country. Why are you loyal to a country just because you were born in it? I don't understand that. I think you should be loyal to people who treat you well. I think you should be loyal to people you want to be loyal to you. I think you should be loyal because it's maybe the right thing to do. I think you should be loyal to people, not to nations. I think that's silly. I think it's a stupid concept. Does that mean I'm some sort of open borders freak? No, it does not. I do believe that a government should look out for its own people first. But in terms of treason, I don't think we owe the government or our countries anything. They already steal our money in the form of taxes, so why should we have to be loyal to them as well? Next up, we have obstruction of justice, and this one is one that I definitely put up in S tier as well. I think people should obstruct as much justice as humanly possible, and the reason I say that is because who decides what justice is? Who is justice? I'm not justice, you're not justice. I don't believe in justice. Justice is stupid. I believe in keeping people safe from people who want to do harm to them. I don't believe in getting justice for things. Hot take here, but I think the only people who should ever be locked in a cage in a prison are people who pose immediate danger to others around them. If you don't pay taxes or you steal something, you should never be in jail. I don't care how many taxes you've not paid. I don't care how much you've stolen. You don't belong in jail. You don't belong next to murderers and rapists and other terrible people that we need to keep society safe from. I think there are other ways to deal with those types of people that don't involve locking them in a cage like an animal. As I said, the only people who should be in those cages are people who are a direct threat to those around them. So next up we have this, another very awful one. I feel kind of bad putting that in E instead of F because it is a very, very awful crime. But I feel like this one down here just deserves a whole thing of its own because it's so extra bad. So yeah, the E and F are both super awful, and anyone in these should be sent to the moon, as I said earlier. The moon's maybe too nice. Maybe the sun would be better when we're blowing that thing up. Drug felonies, that's an S tier. Everyone should just do as many drugs as they humanly can. That's not me saying you should. Okay, you should not just do drugs for doing drugs. But if you want to do drugs, you should be allowed to do that. People should be allowed to do whatever they want to do with their own bodies, so long as you're not directly harming another human being. I don't care. You can harm yourself all you want. Do whatever you want. Just don't harm anyone else. Don't take anyone else's choices away from them, and we shouldn't take your choices away from you, even if they are stupid choices. Again, no one should be locked in a cage for putting some edible thing down their throat or smoking something. That is stupid. People who should be in cages are people who go outside and assault people or murder people, not people who smoke plants. Next up we have cybercrime. This one goes in B. This one's a bit weird. Cybercrime's not really crime, I don't think. What is cybercrime? The internet's not even real. I mean, none of this is real. These videos aren't real. Nothing's real. I mean, it's kind of silly to think about. But at the same time, cybercrime does inconvenience people, and I'm not very much a fan of people inconveniencing others. I don't like being inconvenienced, and so I will never support people who do inconvenience people. So if you're committing a cybercrime where you're taking down networks and suddenly I can't get Wi-Fi to watch a movie at home anymore, then yeah, fuck you. I don't like you. So we're putting that in B, but at the same time, it could be a little lower. Next up, we have animal cruelty. That one's going to go in D. It's a very bad crime. Those people, They can maybe go to the sun as well. I'm almost tempted to put it in E, but I do think that there is a fuck it. No, that's going in E. It's going in E. It's yeah, that's awful. I was going to say that there's yeah, people who do both those things I think are equally awful. I'm not sure one of those is worse than the other. Animal cruelty is pretty fucking horrible. So, yeah, copyright infringement. This is something that should not be a felony. I don't like people going against copyright. I think this is something that gets debated a lot online, especially these days, because there are a lot of people who simply do not understand what the hell fair use is, and so you get a lot of people who take advantage of things. They go over the top. Like a lot of these popular streamers you see on Twitch and stuff, guys like XQC, all they do is sit and react to like other people's content for like 12 hours a day. And really they're not even reacting. I mean, they just sit there with the video playing. XQC did that to one of my videos. He literally just sat there. He said like one word the entire 10-minute video or something. Like, it's so ridiculous that these people can do that and make thousands and thousands of dollars just sitting there watching that video and then uploading that stream clip to YouTube. Like, absolute insanity that he probably made way more from that than I ever did. That's insane to me. However, if it is someone, for example, like Laserbeam, or Lasertard as I call him, even Isaac Butterfield, Daz Games, all these other people who made videos about me, those people actually did react. Those people actually did say things in response. And so I think it is perfectly fine. That is called fair use. Anyway, my point is copyright infringement is a bad thing. It is also over-exaggerated in a lot of ways. It is also not something you should put people in prison for. I'm going to put it in C because it's bad, but it's not like we're sending people to the sun to blow up for it. Blackmail, it's kind of a dumb one. I'm going to put it probably alongside copyright infringement, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I'm going to leave it on C. I think blackmail's an awful bitch thing to do. I think if you're someone who does blackmail people, you're a terrible person. But at the same time, if you're someone who allows yourself to be blackmailed, then you're a little bitch and you probably deserve it. People have tried to blackmail me before. Did it work? No, it didn't. I confronted them and I said, do your fucking worst. I'm not a little pussy who's going to be blackmailed by you freaks. So there you go. Blackmail, C. Next up, we have murder. Now, murder's going in D. It's not as bad as animal cruelty or sexual assault. Murder can be very, very bad. I think that ending a life is actually maybe one of the worst things you could do to a person, because I believe that there is nothing after death. I believe that death is the end. And so to me, torturing someone is not as bad as murdering someone, because, yeah. But. The reason I do then rate this higher, like in not as bad as, say, animal cruelty, for example, where you're torturing animals, is because I feel like there are certain circumstances where it's like, I'm not sad that person got murdered. And so for that alone, like if some horrible animal cruelty person or some sexual assaulter gets murdered, that could be a good for the world as far as I'm concerned. And so sometimes murder has some upsides, is the point I'm trying to make. Whereas everything I have here already that's below murder, those things don't have any good sides. They're just black holes of endless badness. So murder has a few upsides sometimes, and so that's why it gets rated a little bit higher. Manslaughter, manslaughter. This is one of the most ridiculous crimes, I believe. Like, manslaughter is absolutely ridiculous to be charged with. I'm going to put it up in A. Obviously, killing people is bad. But if you kill someone by accident, I don't think you should ever go to jail for that. No one should be in jail for killing someone by accident. Now, I think there are obviously some caveats with that. Like, how did they die? Like, for example, if you're driving along in your car and you accidentally hit someone, that's yeah, you should not go to jail for that. It was a total accident. You did not mean to. Whereas if you were, say, assaulting someone in the middle of the street and you end up killing them, then yeah, you're still going to go, you're going to go to prison for the assault. I'm not sure if I would agree to sentence him for longer simply because the person died because it was an accident. I don't know. I've not really thought much about that. But I don't think, for example, you get people who agree to fight in the middle of a street, right? Two people say, let's fight each other. They go outside, someone gets punched and knocked out, and they fall down and they hit their head on the side of the road. Oh no, they died. I don't think the person who punched them should go to jail. I don't think so, because both of those people engaged with their own free will. They agreed to fight. No one intended to kill the other person. Someone ended up dead. They're both equally at fault, I think. And so it's not one person's fault, just that he was better at fighting than the other guy. So manslaughter in those sort of ways, I don't think people who commit manslaughter should necessarily be in prison most of the time. Again, I think people who should be in jails are people who pose immediate danger to those around them. People who are going out committing murder on purpose. Next up, we have robbery / extortion. This one's going to go in B. It's worse. Extortion's kind of like blackmail, but it's not. And we have robbery there anyway. So I'm guessing what they mean the difference is. So like blackmail is when you're like forcing someone to do something, or else you're going to expose them. Whereas extortion's like, keep giving me money or else. Maybe that's the difference. I'm not entirely sure the exact legal definitions. But robbery, robbery's pretty bad. Is it something people should be in prisons for? No, I don't think you should be in prisons for robberies. I think people who are thieves, they should maybe be labeled as thieves. I think maybe they should be tracked. I think maybe that their life should be more closely looked at and kept track of and stuff. There should be ways in place of stopping them committing more robberies, and there should be other things you can do, take things from them, take possessions from them, whatever. I think there are other things you can do instead of throwing people in prison. It's definitely not as bad as okay, so I don't think it's as bad as blackmail. Okay, but no. I'm putting this down. This is down in C. It's down in. Okay, I've changed my mind. This is down in C because I was getting confused with the way this tier list was going. No, it's definitely worse than copyright infringement. That's for sure. I mean, robbery does have sometimes. It's got the little caveat of like it could be someone trying to feed their family, so at least they're doing it for the right reason. I mean, it's still bad, and I still wouldn't say you should do that. But at least sometimes it's got the little caveat as to like why they're doing it. But yeah, no, robbery is going in C. It's worse than murder. It's not as bad as murder, but it's worse than cybercrime. Grand larceny. Well, I mean, this is back to robbery, isn't it? I mean, I guess is it worse than robbery? I'm just putting it here. I'm putting it in C. We're talking the same sort of thing. I'm not putting it any worse. Next up, we have perjury. And so perjury is just when you lie in court, I guess. Lie, like, legally. Lying is bad. I think liars are some of the worst people in the world. But if there is a time you're going to lie, then lying in court is probably the best time to do it. I'm going to put it next to cybercrime. Actually, do I want to do that? Because technically lying in court could be, you could be accusing someone when they didn't do. Yeah, okay, maybe not. Perjury is pretty bad. I'm going to put it down in C. Burglary. This is another just robbery related one. It's another really bad. I mean, it's not really bad, but it's bad. I'm going to put it here in C. Yeah, burglary bad, I guess. Next up, we have aggravated assault and battery. This is a pretty bad one. Oh, this is getting a little hard to rate, though, because obviously, like, murder is worse than assault. But the way I've done this tier list, it's like I don't have enough ways to, like, differentiate between some of this. I might need to shuffle some of it. Okay, I'm going to move... what's the worst of these? And what's the least worst? Okay, I'm going to move copyright infringement into B. That's not as bad as some of these other ones. I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to... something like this. I guess maybe I need to put murder into E. I might need to... it's murder I need to move, isn't it? Murder needs to go down here. Sorry, murderers, but even though you do good sometimes... we're saying it's still not as bad as these two, but murder is going there. Next, we have arson. I don't like arson at all. It's definitely going down here next to assault and battery. I say I don't like arson. I joke a lot about wanting to commit arson. I don't think I ever would commit arson. Fire kind of scares me. But yeah, arson bad. Kidnapping. Well, kidnapping on its own, I'm going to put in like C tier. If it's kidnapping plus assault, kidnapping plus blackmail, kidnapping plus arson, kidnapping plus sexual assault, then suddenly it becomes like super, super bad. But the kidnapping on its own, I'm assuming they're just taking someone against their will, not harming them, because the harming part isn't included with kidnapping, so I'm putting it there. So next up, we have identity theft. That's probably another one that I'm going to put in like C tier. That's a weird one. It's not as bad maybe as like kidnapping, but it is pretty bad to fake, like steal someone's identity. That's pretty nasty. And for the same reason, I'm going to put fraud. Nah, fraud. Fraud. Yeah, fraud's going about the same. It's like the thing you're going to see here on C is that most of this C stuff is it's like about theft, and copyright infringement is also kind of theft, but I feel like it's less theft, because the thing with copyright infringement is like with all these other things, you're kind of taking things from people, like you're actually taking money, you're taking belongings, whereas with copyright infringement, you're not taking anything. Like this is the argument about piracy. It's not like when you're illegally downloading a movie or a video game, you're not taking something from someone that now they're missing, right? You're taking a copy of something, and there is a difference there, and so it's not quite as bad. And finally, we have forgery. I feel like, again, this is maybe one that goes in. It's one of these that goes between B and C. To be honest, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in C. Am I? Yeah, you can't forge documents. That's not good. Anyway, I think, is that the tier list done? Yeah, that's the tier list done. But we've got it, folks. So just to recap. The best crimes, the ones that I don't care if you do, are tax evasion, obstruction of justice, and drug felonies. Then we have treason and manslaughter, which are not as bad, well, which are worse than the S tier, but they're still not too bad. And we have B, which are a little bit worse, cybercrime, copyright infringement. Then we get to the actual kind of bad ones, which are like perjury, forgery, identity theft, fraud, robbery, extortion, grand larceny, blackmail, burglary, kidnapping. Those are pretty bad. Then you get to really bad, and really bad is like assault and arson. Really, really bad things. Then you get to absolutely horrendous things, and these people should be like thrown into the sun, and that's murder, animal cruelty, and sexual assault. And then finally, at the bottom, you know what it is, the worst of the whole list. We've got that one. And that's just absolutely awful. Anyway, if you want to make your own tier list using these same things, I will leave a link to it in the description down below. And until next time, goodbye, freaks.